Path of the Flood 5K, I finished 5th overall, which gave me 2nd in my age group. It was definitely a bad day for me. I just wasn't feeling it with some of the issues I've been having going on with my eyes and the medication I'm on to fix that. Show you the cool awards that we got real quick. I've been wanting one of these for a couple years now. So finally earned one. I guess not by choice, I guess is how to say it, but still got one. First time I finished not in the top overall for I don't know how many years now. Anyway, finished like 1910, 1911.35. Just wasn't feeling it today. I didn't run all week because I was sick. The medication I'm on just made me weak and tired. Conditions were all right today, about 50 degrees at the start. Got here around 7. I didn't even get on the bus till probably quarter till 8. Buses were running. I don't know if they were running behind, but they were just getting full, so I didn't get on till the last bus, and I only had standing room only. So I didn't get up to the start line until like 10 till 8. Then I had to go to the bathroom real quick because I was a little gassy, and then it was a good poop though. Then when I came out of the bathroom, it was like 5 till, and I still needed to do one last little warm-up stretch before I could start. And then the mass start was starting at 8, and I was like, shit, I wasn't gonna make it before the mass start. So I hung back a couple more minutes, didn't start till like 8:03, so I started a little late, but that was all right. They knew that because we were supposed to stop at 8 o'clock, but I didn't go across the mat till 8:03. I wanted to space out that mass start for a couple minutes before I took off, so that way they spaced out and I didn't have to run through all them right away, even though I was still going to have to, but I figured they'd be spaced out a little bit. Because like I said, by the time I got out of the bathroom and like tied my shoes tight and got down to my compression shorts and stuff like that, I wasn't going to make the mass start to get out ahead of them. So yeah, I waited a couple minutes, and then I started back and then ran across the mat and took off. Went pretty damn fast out the gate, probably way too fast, faster than I definitely wanted to. You'll have that. I was definitely in like the 430, 440 range for a couple of tenths. So that probably cost me later in the race. Right away, as soon as you hit because you do a couple quick turns where we start out for the 5K. It's by like a car wash place. Then after that, like you hit the actual like a trail, like rough dirt trail for probably good half mile to 0.7 tenths of a mile. That really sucked. As soon as you transitioned from the asphalt to the trail, there was like a muddy spot. So I lost traction right away with my Endorphin Pro 4s because there was no avoiding it. It was mud pit was the whole way across the trail, so you just had to go right through it. I could feel the mud splashing on the back of my legs right away, so that did suck. And then the trail was a little soft in spots, solid in others, but just running around people on that trail portion sucked ass. Oh man, I wish I would have got out in front of that mass start, because people just were not paying attention at all. Like, I don't want to sound rude or be rude, but they were like 3-4 wide across the trail, just, having a good time, which is fine, but they weren't cognizant of people coming like from behind, not just like me being the last person in the 5K, but the 8-milers and the 14-milers that were coming. They just weren't paying attention. So many people were just pulling their children off to the side and scrambling around, so I'm trying to weave in and out, not getting a direct line, slowing me down a lot. And then twice I got pushed into the fencing or railing, whatever you want to call it, on that trail section, because I'm calling out on your left. I'm taking like the left-hand side. I'm like on left, and this like girl was like 12, 14 years old. She kept moving to the left, as I'm saying on left. She was so confused, and she ended up bumping me into the fence, and I was like, damn it. I even said damn it as I looked at her. Like, I was like, no, what the hell is going on? It kind of pissed me off, and pisses me off now thinking about it, because I'm like, on your left, and she's like, she literally like bumped me into the fence because she didn't know what to do. And there was like one other instance of that got pushed me into the fence. So that trail section did suck, because I just had to weave around so many people. It was just so aggravating. Just nobody paying attention. And like I said, 3-4 wide, and then like there were slower people on the left-hand side than the right. So then you're trying to weave in or out. It just was total chaos. And it did aggravate me on that straight stretch. And then that switchback, it was a little slick. So you had to like basically slow down and stop there, because you couldn't take it as fast as you normally, or as I normally would, and grab that railing to swing myself around, because it was just like a wet, slick spot that you could see. So I lost momentum there, but thankfully I got out of the trail section, only losing a few seconds in there because of the people. Again, no offense to them, because you know, they were just out having a good time, but they just weren't, the people I was going through just weren't paying attention to anything that was going on around them. And just being at 3-4 wide, it's just like, hey, there's people coming and gonna be coming. You gotta pay attention. And then once we did that straight stretch and we hit the asphalt again, before you pop out on the trail from the asphalt, or the trail to the asphalt, it's already like a mile in. But that first like house on the road section, there was like a car coming down the hill, and this dude saw me coming, and I'm trying to go out around him on the left, and he kept going over. He literally cut me off in front of me, and I just slowed down, and he's like, oh, sorry. I'm like, yeah, thank you. He literally cut me off because he didn't know what to do either. It's like, come on, people. It's like, if you're going to be in these races, you've got to be a little bit smarter than that. It just, so like 3 people just cut me off today and pushed me into stuff. So I basically went out in the bush to get around that dude there. That was really the 3 times that I had issues with people. Because that first straight stretch to that little love tunnel or whatever it's called, people pretty much did stay on the right-hand side, or gave me enough room where I could take a straight line on the left the whole way into the tunnel. So that wasn't too bad. Got slowed up for a second or two in the tunnel. This woman wasn't paying attention, and she kept like rocking back and forth. I could see her. She wasn't sure which way she was going to run through the tunnel at. Then by the time I popped out in the tunnel and hit those railroad tracks by the mills, I was feeling it a little bit in my stomach. Just getting that coffee, upset stomach feeling where I knew I was going to start gagging soon, and I ended up doing it where that red brick mill building is. I just slowed down for like 10 seconds to puke. Well, I didn't really puke, but I was gagging and stuff. I just couldn't breathe. So that cost me 10 seconds. I think it happened one other time as well. So that did slow me down a lot. That probably did cost me a top 3 today. Easily, but I didn't really care. I wasn't expecting much. Because I knew I was going to struggle coming in. I just never really got going after that choking puke incident. Never really laid the hammer down after that. I just sort of relaxed because I just figured it was going to keep coming again. But I was passing people the whole time. I guess that was to be expected, but it was also nice because I had people to hunt down and use, and it just made the race not as boring. Well, it made it go quicker, I guess. But I did actually stay outside the railing because there was too many people inside the railing along the road that I had to weave around. So I just hugged the railing right outside of it the whole way. Even coming into the finish line, I hugged the outside of the railing so I could have like a clear shot and not have to worry about people. But I did struggle. My lungs were on fire. My legs were a little bit on fire as well. Just with the medicine that I've been taking for my eye that I've been having issues with, just made my sinuses all fucked up, and the allergy pill that I had to take to relieve those symptoms just really put me down the last couple of days. And I could feel it in my lungs. My lungs were burning. They're still a little bit hot now, like with that burning feeling. Yeah. And then this morning, well, I slept actually all day yesterday. I just wasn't feeling good. And then this morning, when I took my baking powder or my baking soda and my protein mix or my beet powder mix, I choked a little bit, gagged up, spit up some things. So I knew it was going to be a bad day even this morning. Then I shit before I left the house, so that the way consistency of it was, I knew I was going to have a bad day, a bad race, even before I left the house. Yeah, the peanut butter and jelly sandwich this morning and granola bar. And just drinking green tea, and it just, my stomach didn't feel right from the get-go. Then I had a Celsius, like a half Celsius on the way, then the other half was before I loaded the bus, which gave me a caffeine and a boost. But then like I said, I said shit when I got up to the start line. I just knew it was going to be bad. So 19:10, 19:11, whatever the time is, could have been way better. I mean, it could have been a hell of a lot worse. I mean, I guess I'm content with it. Like I said, I lost 10-15 seconds because of gagging and stuff like that, and just people getting in my way today. I wouldn't have won. There was no way. I think the winner was like 17 something, like 1750. I don't think I could have did that on a clear open course. I probably could have finished the top 3 if everything went well, but I'm happy with top 5 because, like I said, I've been wanting one of these bridges for a couple years, and so having a shitty race finally gave me an excuse to earn one. This is the medals they gave out for this year. If you don't know, the Path of Flood Trail is the trail of the year for 2025 in PA. So they put that on the mug. I don't know if you could see it better if I put this in there. So it's Trail of the Year 2025 Path of the Flood race. So it's sort of themed with that this year. I don't know about the crowd. I can't really tell how the crowd was. It seemed like there was a decent amount, but at the same time, it seems like there was less people overall participating. It's hard to judge because people were so sporadic at this race. Because if you don't know, he decided to do the rolling start again. So you could start at 7 o'clock in the morning, and you have to have started by 8 o'clock for the race. So anywhere in that hour, people could be starting. So it's hard to tell who stuck around, who actually finished, or where you were during the race. I know me and him went back and forth about this a few times, about it's not really a race with the rolling start, because you're not really racing anybody. You're basically just racing yourself. I mean, I guess a lot of times you're doing that in a race to begin with, you know, once the race starts, or most people just race themselves at races. But like, let's just say, like, the top people, you don't know who you're racing against or what they're doing. You don't have that competition aspect per se, because you're not pushing each other or, strategy wise. So it's kind of hard. Like, I'm torn on it, calling it a race, because you're not really racing anybody but yourself the whole time, and you're racing the clock instead of other people. And like, for instance, if you start at 7 o'clock, the weather could be perfect, and then by 8 o'clock, the weather could be pouring down rain. Today I would say it was pretty consistent for that whole hour, but conditions change, temperatures change, so it's like, who's got the advantage when they start? Or like today, it would have been more muddier when I started at 8 than this on the trail portion than the 7 o'clock people. So it's like, yeah, different options, like, and it's not the same conditions for everybody in that race category. I don't know, just one of those things. Like I said, the way to fix that is, because there was issues with timing the last couple of years, is just have somebody, because people aren't adults and don't tell the people who they should they're going to drop down a distance. All you can do is have somebody there at the race start and cross your name off saying, hey, I'm actually doing the 14 miler or the 8 miler instead of the other distance. So you just have somebody there to check off names. But I did have a lot of people say that they don't like the rolling starts. I mean, there's always going to be people that want to start early, so they're not at 7 o'clock, so they're not getting pushed by the whatever faster people, I guess. But they're still either going to get pushed later on. Either way, whatever. It's near here or there. But I had a bad race. I knew it was going to be a bad race. As you could hear it in my voice now, I'm still congested and cloggy, and I don't know, my lungs are still burning. So there is that. But either way, finished 5th. Probably my worst placement in the path of the flood races. At least the weather held off. I think last year was 80 degrees and hot, but it did rain a little bit. Could be wrong about that. I don't know. I know some years it's been cold, some years it's been hot. I know the one year I was wearing gloves and a neck gaiter and stuff like that to race because it was so cold. I think last year was really stinking hot. Somebody else was telling me it was like 80. It's hard for me to remember all the time. But I did wear a hoodie and pants up to the 5K start. So I stayed warm the whole time. And I took them off like a minute or two before I started. So I got to run shirtless just because I was still warm. And I was doing like a little bit of warm-up stretching before I started. So I didn't have to really worry about being cold. Because I figured by the time I got cold, I would have been done racing anyhow. So that's why I actually went shirtless. And I also knew I was going to have a bad race because my bib number was 13. So yeah, jinxed me right away. Other than that, I don't know. Saw a bunch of friends. Some people did some new PRs for distance. So it was kind of cool to see today. People talk about. Other than that, I don't know. I guess I wish I could have done better, but I'm content because I sort of had that in my mindset coming in. It was going to suck for me. So I guess it's about to be as good as I could have expected. Could have been worse. Could have been better. But hey, I have to live with it now. Not running all week and being sick, so not much else I could really do or say about that. Except for the trail. All right, one thing I do got to say is the dirt section of the trail definitely needs stuff put on it, more like limestone or something, so it's more smoother. I'd put a bunch of limestone to make it more like a rail trail feel, because it's too dirty, rocky, gravelly right now, and muddy when it rains. So it definitely needs resurfaced some, and I don't think it's really ever been, in the couple years that it's been open now, it's been cut. It's been, I would say maybe in some spots it was just dumped on gravel, but it needs to be like rail trail, limestone, gravel covered, so it's not as shitty as it is. So that is the one thing I will say about that section. But other than that, I do like how they put up some more railing this year, more cones. So it sort of blocked off traffic a little bit more and made it safer. So there is that as well. I know I sound grumpy, which I am, but it happens.